Hey everyone, welcome again to my channel Build with AI. In this channel, we will learn how you can build literally anything using our ByteBoss AI agent. Please do subscribe the channel and like this video. In today's video, we will learn different type of networking protocols, some Chrome developer tools. Then in the end, we will learn how you can use your ByteBoss AI agent to create a simple WebSocket application. So stay tuned and just watch the video till the end. In our last video, we explored how to use ByteBoss AI agent effectively. Today we are taking things a step further by creating our own chatbot. We will learn how you can use AI to help us to build a real-world application just like a chatbot. So if you ever wondered how to create your own chatbot, this is the video for you. This is just the first video in our chatbot series where we will cover everything you need to know to build a fully functional chatbot. So stay tuned, more videos are coming on this topic. What exactly is a chatbot application? A chatbot makes it seems like you are talking to a person, just like on WhatsApp or Facebook, but instead of human, on the other side, there is an AI. Often we call it as large language model that responds to your messages in real time. Chatbots are used in a variety of applications. For example, customer support. Many companies use chatbots on their websites to provide instant customer support. These bots can answer frequently asked questions, guide users through processes, and even handle simple transactions. Even in virtual assistant like Apple's Siri, Google's Google Assistant, and Amazon Alexa can perform tasks like setting reminders, answering questions, opening apps for you, and so many things. Even in e-commerce, in online applications for shopping, chatbots can help users find products, track orders, and even provide personalized recommendations. How do you actually create a chatbot application? Think about it. What's the most important skill that humans have? It's their ability to think, generate ideas, solve problems step by step, and adapt as humans go. This is how humanity has evolved from the Stone Age to creating advanced technologies, just like rocket or artificial intelligence. It's the same mindset we will use to build our chatbot. We will use first principle thinking to break down our problem that seems complex now into smaller and simpler parts, and then learn about each one of them. So what do we need in our application? I have come up with the idea that I want anyone to be able to use my chatbot no matter what device they are on. So we will create a Flutter UI application to build a cross-platform chatbot with all the logic handled via backend server. So this chatbot should be able to handle real-time communication as if the person on the other end is just like human. Let's deep dive into some research using AI. All the steps I'm going to execute are through the JuniorIT AI development ecosystem. But if you also want to follow along and just not learn anything passively, but also want all the steps to be done practically, you have to join my server. The link is in the description. Just click on more and then click on the Discord server link. This is the Discord invite. It's free to accept the invite and become the member of our server. Just click on accept invite. And you will join our server. We are going to use AI to do our research, but first we need to set up the environment. So let's learn how you can set up your learning environment. Once you will join our Discord server Build with AI, you will get access to a lot of tools. And to know about any tool or just to know about anything about coding, our new video schedule, and everything that you need to know, you just need to communicate with our chatbot ByteMate. You can find it in the online section of all the members, or just it will just send you one message once you will join the server. Now you just need to click on it and just send a message to it, and it will start interacting with you. Just to get all the courses that we are going to do in our today's video, you just have to give it a URL of the video, and it will assign you an interactive course based on the video you are watching. It's interactive and designed to help you follow along with the video. So you just need to give it a URL. So let me show you how you can do that. So you just need to copy the URL of our video. This is our previous video. If you haven't watched it, please watch it to know more. But for the current video, you have to follow the same steps. Just click on share and copy the video URL. Then again come to ByteMate and just write, assign me the course for the video, and give the URL for the video. And it will automatically assign the course for you. Once it will respond you, it will give you a link. You just have to click on the link and an interactive environment will appear for you. You just need to follow all the steps. And to open the container or just to start doing coding and development work, you need to click on the start button. It will approximately take 120 seconds. Once the launch button is enabled, click on the launch button. And again, just like previous video, we have two customizable windows. On the right side, you have the textual content, and on the left side, soon you will have online VS Code. This online interface already contains the repository for ByteBoss AI Agent, because in our previous video, we have forked this ByteBoss AI Agent repository to our GitHub account, and then just clone that forked repository from our GitHub account to this online VS Code. JuniorIT developers may have made some changes to it, to your ByteBoss AI Agent. So if there are new updates, you need to synchronize them with your version. So let's first come to your GitHub account. So here I have just logged into my GitHub account. I will click on my profile. Then through my profile, I will click on your repositories. And here I will find the forked repository of ByteBoss AI Agent. Now there is one message that this repository is just one commit ahead and 10 commits behind. So I need to synchronize the fork. So for this, I will just click on it and then update the branch. Now I have synchronized it. It's just 2 commits ahead of it because I have made some changes to it. But from the previous video, you won't see this because you haven't made any changes. Now let's again come to our online VS Code or the JuniorIT coding environment. Now again, let's click on this menu, terminal and new terminal. And here we have to synchronize all those changes from our GitHub account code repository to our online VS Code. For this, first let's move to ByteBoss AI Agent using the cd or change directory command. Once you will join the Discord server, you don't have to care about any of the command, as we will give you a course and you just have to follow the links. That's it. Now I'm going to write one command to fetch all the changes. It's git fetch origin, and then I will just hit enter. And it will just fetch all the changes. You can see, just write git status. See, your branch is behind origin main by 11 commits. So again, we have to use one more command. to pull all those changes. For this, I am going to write git pull origin main and hit enter, and it will just update all those file changes. Let's continue with our research. First, I'm going to close this terminal. Now again, on the left sidebar, you will see a variety of icons. We have already installed the JuniorIT.ai VS Code extension for you. Just click on it. And here in the third section, the assistant section, you can continue with the research. So now, I just want my application, my chatbot, to be able to communicate with AI in real time. So how should I do that? So let's research about something. So we know that using Discord, we can communicate with other users real time. So let's ask assistant, how does Discord send real time messages? And let's click on ask now. And AI will generate the response for you. And you can read about the response later. But the most important thing that we have to focus now is WebSocket connections. Let's learn what are WebSocket connections and how can you create one. We need to learn about WebSocket connections because they are crucial for real-time communication. But let's first start with basics on network. What's a client and a server? First, let's understand what a client and a server are. Your computer, phone, or tablet act as a client. When you want to access something online, just like accessing a website or a web page or just watching a video on YouTube, your device sends a request for that information. On the other side, server is a powerful computer where websites and other online resources are stored. It listens to your request, processes your request, finds the information you're asking for, and sends it back to your device. But then, what's an HTTP protocol? Let's talk about HTTP, which is the protocol or the set of rules used by clients and server to communicate. The client opens a connection and requests data from the server. The server processes the request, sends back the data, and then the connection closes. This is known as a stateless protocol or set of rules because each request and response pair is independent with no connection retained between them. It means if there are some changes made to the server, the client again have to make a new request. But that's not what we want because we want a bidirectional real-time communication. Now let me show you practically how client and server interact with each other and how HTTP protocol looks like. So I have just visited the JuniorIT.ai website. Now, whenever you just type the name of the website in your Chrome browser or any browser you are using, your browser acts as a client and it just sends a request to the server which hosts all those files. So let me show you how. I will just right click and then click on inspect and a variety of tabs will open for you. You just need to click on the network tab and here you cannot see anything because first you have to perform a request. So every time you reload a website or just type a website and hit enter, you're actually making a request to the server which serves all those files and information, and then the server will give you a response. So let me show you how. I will just type Ctrl+R or just refresh the website and see you have made or your web browser have made 60 requests to the server and you get all those files from the server. So this is the type and this is the document type or your HTML document. Just click on it and here in the headers, because every time a request is made, you get a request header and a response header in HTTP protocols. So this is the request you made. The method for request is get. There are two types of methods. One is get and one is post. We will look all of these in later classes, and this is the response header that you got. Now you can check the timing and other details also. So this is the type document. We also have the style sheet or CSS. The script is your JavaScript files. And because I almost regularly check this website, so all of this content is coming from the cache memory of my browser. Now there are other types of files also, like the PNG file. That is actually the image that is used in the website. And further GIFs, patch, and all those kinds of informations are there. And you can see how each element or the component of the website took time, what's the size of this. And actually we just made a request to the server and the server just served these files to us. So this is how an HTTP protocol looks inside your browser. So let's learn what is polling. Polling is a technique used in many AJAX applications or the applications that dynamically updates the data. So just like a regular HTTP request, client sends a request to the server, and if update is available, the server gives the response. But in polling, the client repeatedly requests the data from the server at regular intervals. If no new data is available, the server sends an empty response. So a lot of new responses and requests are made, but if the data is not available, the server just simply sends an empty response. This method, while simple, can be inefficient because it creates a lot of new connections and responses, even if there is no new data to send. A variation of polling is HTTP long polling. In this method, the client sends a request to the server, and the server holds the request until new data is available. And we also call this as hanging get. Once the data is ready, the server sends the response, and the client can then send a new request either immediately or after an interval of time. This may reduce the number of connections, but if no new data is available, the request is timeout. But the client still has to connect periodically, which can be resource intensive. So we have to find a way that the client do not have to periodically connect to the server. What is WebSocket? WebSockets are a modern protocol designed for real-time and bidirectional communication between a client like a web browser and a server. WebSockets are crucial for applications that require real-time updates, just like chat apps, online games, live sports website. WebSockets dramatically reduce the latency that comes with constantly opening and closing the connections, making the experience faster and smoother for the user. Let's see how WebSockets work. When you first connect to a server using WebSockets, it all starts with a regular HTTP request. The initial request is known as the WebSocket handshake. During the handshake, the client, just like a web browser, asks the server to upgrade the connection from HTTP to a WebSocket. This is similar to introducing yourself when you met someone. If the server supports WebSockets and agrees to the handshake, it sends back a response that actually upgrades the connection from HTTP to a WebSocket connection. This upgrade transforms the one-time request-response model of HTTP into a persistent two-way communication channel. Once the connection is upgraded, it stays open as long as both the client and the server need it. This means that either side can send data whenever data is ready. For example, in a chat app, you can send a message to the server and the server can send message back to you instantly. To manage communication via WebSocket, server often uses a WebSocket handling. This is a piece of software that listens for incoming WebSocket connections and handles the messages that are sent and received. The WebSocket handler ensures that the messages are routed correctly and that the connection remains stable. It's like a traffic controller making sure everything flows smoothly in both the directions. And then the data and all the communication happens over a single TCP connection, which is very efficient, and it reduces the need to constantly open and close connections, saving both time and resources. This makes WebSocket ideal for applications for real-time updates like multiplayer games or chat apps. When either the client or the server no longer needs the connection, they can close it. This gracefully ends the communication and frees up the resources. However, until that happens, the connection remains open, ready to transmit data at any moment of time. Let's just see practically whether the Discord application really uses WebSockets for communication. For this, let's open Chrome Developer Tools. For this, I will type Ctrl+Shift+I on my keyboard, and it will open the Chrome Developer Tools for me. Then I will just write Ctrl+R to reload the Discord application. Now you will see a lot of tags here or the elements. Just click on WS because WS stands for WebSockets, and you will get the WebSocket type connection here. Just click on it and you can further explore it. But let's come to the timing tab. And in the timing tab, it says that request is not finished yet because the connection hasn't been closed yet. The connection is still open for both the server and the client to communicate. That's why the request is not finished yet. So yes, we can see now that Discord uses WebSockets. Now let's again come to our online VS Code or container. Now in the container, we have already set up the ByteBoss AI agent. Let's again open a new terminal. And now we are going to use ByteBoss AI agent to create a simple application that is going to use WebSockets. So let's again move to ByteBoss project folder using cd or change directory command. Here I will write ls to list all the files and folders. I have to move to projects. So again, I will write cd projects. Inside projects again, I have to move to sample folder because we will just experiment all those experiments that we are going to do. We will do all those examples and smaller applications in the sample folder. So I will move to the sample folder. Inside sample folder, there are various subfolders available like prompts, source, logs, references, etc. So we write our prompts, or the way that I pronounce it as requirements. So we write our requirements for any application in the prompts folder. So let's again come to the prompts folder. And let me just use clear command to clear the terminal. Let's readjust the window. And if you write ls, it will just simply tell you that this folder contains two files, one test.prompt.md that we have used in our previous class, and the other one is ignore by agent.txt. So let's use jcode to open ignore by agent.txt. So again, jcode is a special JuniorIT command that helps you to open a file into File Explorer. So we have created this ByteBoss agent in such a way that whenever you write a prompt, all those files that are inside the folder of prompt or in references or in the source folder will be inserted or input to the AI or the LLM model that we are using. So, but we have already used test.prompt.md. So it's best if we just ignore this file. So to ignore this file, we have to just write this file name into the file ignore by agent.txt file. So just hit enter. By the way, this hash means this is a comment. So I just need to write the file that I need to ignore. So the file I need to ignore is that test.prompt .md, and I will just type Control S to save it. Now in my references are just empty because I haven't used any references yet. We will do that in later classes. But in source folder also, we have two files. One is keycapture.py, another one is a folder. Again, I will just open ignore by agent.txt file in the source folder. And I'm going to write, I just do not need these files for my next project. So I want AI to ignore them. So for keycapture.py, I will just write it name. And then again, hit enter for the other file. And that's not a file. Basically, that's a repository or a folder. So I will write the name of it and then give a forward slash. It means everything inside this folder or repository. Again, I will Control S and save it. So now whenever I will just execute agent.sh file, my bash file. So all these files that are inside ignore by agent.txt, all the folders that are inside ignore by agent.txt will be ignored by AI. So I have done that. For each folder, like for the prompt folder, for the sources folder, for the references folder, we have a file ignore by agent.txt. And for all those files that we want to be ignored by AI, we just write the name on it by line. So just don't write every file name on the same line. For each file name, just use a next line. Now we are inside the prompts folder. Let's quickly ensure that yes, we are in the prompt folder, and inside prompts folder, we have already ignored test.prompt.md. So let's create another file. So whenever we have one requirement file or the prompt file must ends with .prompt.md. So we are going to create one WebSocket application. So I'm going to name it touch to create a file, and the name I'm going to use it WebSocket.prompt.md. So again, to open the file, use the jcode command and then WebSocket.prompt.md. Now I am open this file using jcode command. By the way, you do not need to worry about all these commands because once you will join the Discord server, as I have shown you in the earlier sections, you can actually use ByteMate AI bot that is generated by or developed by JuniorIT, and you can ask that bot by just giving the URL of this video, assign the course for you, and then you can just follow along and just hit the icons to execute the commands. Now in WebSocket.prompt.md, I will write my requirements. So I just pasted the requirements here. So I just want AI or our ByteBoss AI agent to write Python code for a WebSocket server. So there is one file by the name server.py, another file by the name client.py that allows real-time bidirectional communication. So the server should echo back any message it receives from the client. The client should connect to the server and allow the user to send and receive messages via the command line. We are not creating any GUI for that. We will just use command line. To use WebSockets, we can use the WebSocket library, and we are just ensuring that we will open the local host on the port 4000. So I have just write it, my prompt or the requirement here. Again, let's move to the sample folder, and here I am going to execute agent.sh file. So everything that's inside source folder, I have already ignored it by adding it ignore by agent.txt file. Just make sure to do this, otherwise you will waste a lot of resources. Just ignore all those files that you do not want to send to LLM. Let me just execute it. So our ByteBoss AI agent have created those files for us. So the files will be available in the source folder. But before this, I have to execute this command because to ensure that these files will execute, I need to install some requirements. For this, I will just copy it and then I will just paste it here. Because I have already installed it, requirement already satisfied. But you may need to install those requirements. Let's again come to source folder. And inside source folder, we have two files, server.py and client.py. We have already ignored key capture.py and apps. Now, if you will click on this split terminal button, it will split the terminal for you into two parts, because we just need to execute both the client and the server. First, just write Python and the name of the file, server.py. First, we need to initiate our server because client is going to connect to the server. I will hit enter and see your application running on port 4000. Again, in the second half of the terminal, write Python. Let me just use clear first. Yeah, now write Python. Then client.py, hit enter. Now, once I will write one message, let's just first write message here. It will send the message to the server and it will also receive the message. But the message is not shown here in the server terminal. So let's debug the code first. Let's close this using Ctrl Z. The server has been closed, and to close the client, again I am going to type Ctrl+Z or Z. Now let's open server.py code. So if you want to understand the code, you just need to select the code, right click, and then click on JuniorIT.ai assistant. And this will explain the code to you. So you can read about it, the code, but let's first debug it. So Python is more or less like less likely like English. So we can assume that from the code that WebSocket.send message. So it is getting one message, then it's again echoing that message or sending this message again to the server. So what we can do is that before sending that message, we need to first print that message to the terminal of our server. So we can write one print statement here and then write message here. So before sending the message, it will also print it to the terminal screen. Let's save the code to see if it's working or not. Again, let me use the clear command. Now let's again run the server first. Now it shows one error that while attempting to bind an address already in use. So let's just copy this error, because coding is mostly just removing bugs in your application. So I just copy this error code, and again I will come to my JuniorIT AI assistant extension, and here I am just going to paste this code or the error message and click on ask now. And it just indicates that I need to further execute this command because the process is already running. Here I can see that. So again, I will come to the terminal and just execute those commands. Let's again use clear command for you to, so that you can just view the terminal and just right click and hit enter. So this is the process IDs and this is the connection for the localhost 4000. Now I need to kill this For this, I will again just click on JuniorIT VS Code extension. It again give me one more command. For the PID, I will just edit it. So for this, the process ID is 19611. Now it has killed the process Python server.py. Let's again open it because we have made some changes to the code. Now the code is working. Now for the second half of the terminal, let's again execute client.py and here again write one message. And see, we are just getting the message on the terminal also, instantly without any delay. And it also echoing the message back to the client. So it is also sending message to the client again. Again, let me just write one more message. JuniorIT rocks. Again, you can see the message on the terminal of the server. Again, write something. Now, we have used WebSockets and the code is written by AI. And we also know how we can just learn about this code and Python using JuniorIT VS Code extension. We'll just learn about print, that using print statement, we can print anything to the terminal. In our next videos, we will learn more about Python code and how we can use WebSockets to create a web application. Then we will just convert those web application into a chatbot and we are going to use Flutter for our front-end needs so that our application will be cross-platform. So thank you for joining today's live class, today's YouTube video, and I hope you will enjoy it. And if you want to just access all this content, please come to description and join my Discord server. Thanks for joining. In our next video, we will learn how to create a Discord bot.